around or didn't get in the meeting. But for those of you who are on, thank you. I appreciate you guys being on here. So last week, we have our new schedule. Our schedule is the first and third Wednesdays of every month for our community updates. And like we mentioned last week, we might end up adjusting that. If we're not communicating enough, we can add more. If we're communicating too much, we'll do less. But for now, we thought the middle of the ground would be the first and third Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time of the month. And so we didn't do one the first week because obviously it was a holiday. It kind of fell on I think on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. So we did one last week, but we're doing another one this week. So we won't really do too many back-to-back weeks unless there's, a need for us to communicate more, or if we have something cool that we want to talk about, then we'll make sure we send out the link so that everybody can jump on and get the community update. Now, when we went last week, we talked a little bit about our goals and what we're trying to accomplish. We're going to do a little bit of the same this week, but we'll go a little bit more in depth with a couple of things that we're working on and give you guys an update on what our plans are as a company and what we're trying to accomplish as a community. And we've got some great stuff. I think 2025 is the year. This is the year that everybody's been pointing to for a long time for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons is for everybody that follows the crypto market. People like to base a lot of what they think is going to happen in the crypto world in general based on what Bitcoin is doing. And then if you look historically, obviously, I've gone through this before with you guys, but post Bitcoin halving, there is a lot of movement in the crypto world. And so we're just past a Bitcoin halving. And so if you look historically at what other coins do, now there's no earnings claims. We're not saying this is exactly what's going to happen to our tokens, but the environment, we seem to be out of the crypto winter and we're coming into a new crypto age, especially for those of you here in the United States, where we've got a crypto-friendly administration coming in. We're just looking for some clarity. A lot of the rulings coming out of the SEC don't really make much sense. There's really no rhyme or reason to who they're litigating and all that stuff. And so they're basically litigating their way into policies. And so we just want the clearly defined policies, and we think that's what we're going to get with the new administration. The rumors are that Gary Gensler is going to resign as soon as Trump comes in, and we'll get some clarity. I think everybody in the crypto world, including Element United, just wants to know what are the rules that you guys have set forth so that we can follow those rules and grow this. And so we're doing everything that we can, number one, to be compliant. Everything that we do is with a compliance frame. We want to make sure that as we're going in, because we feel like our cause is noble and we have some new technology with this blockchain technology that can now solve problems that have been major problems in the world for a while. But it's a bit of a wild, wild west whenever new technology comes in, new forms of, currency, or maybe they're interpreted as currency by other people. We as a whole just want to know, how do we participate in this? How do we use this awesome technology that has a built-in reward structure, which is the Element reward? How do we do this in a way that solves problems and rewards people for being a part of the solution and not get, shut down or heaven forbid, any sort of SEC, violations and things like that. So we think that 2025 is the year for a lot of clarity and a lot of growth in the crypto world and a lot of adoption. People have now, especially with, you guys might have been hearing, for those of you who follow crypto a lot, RWA, real world assets, the tokenization of real world assets, which is where Element hopes to play a really big part of that moving into 2025. And I'm not going to talk about everything today because I want to have information for our bi-monthly, or even if we move back to weekly updates. And so some of it I'll talk a little bit higher level today, and we'll get down into the details as some of these products that we're working on take hold, start to take off, and as we start to develop them a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and just jump into some of the things that we're working on. For those of you who were on last week, you saw this slide, and this just gives a high level. We won't go into many details. We spend a lot of time as a team planning out each individual product that we have and where we're at right now and what our goals are for 2025. And so mining partnerships. You guys know we have several mines who have already signed on with Element. Element actually owns a part of these mines. Moving forward, we won't look for too many other ownership partnerships with mines, but just more mines that we can work with to make change, to help tokenize their in-ground assets. So we are looking, first of all, to increase our product lines. And our product lines are the ethical mining certification. That's really where the real change on the ground happens. That's by having mines make pledges, having mines change their practices, have mines that can be certified so that they can have better visibility to their customers who are going to be demanding to know that the things that they are buying from these mines are ethical, that there's a environmental plan in place, that they have their certificates, that they're paying fair wages, all those kind of fun things. Also, the e-vault. The e-vault is our way of really proving provenance. Where did these minerals come from? Was the mine ethically certified? And once it is, tracking it all the way through the blockchain or through the supply chain using the blockchain. And then in addition, having a customer product where customers can have a certification of a watch or a piece of jewelry in the form of an NFT. And NFTs have changed. In 2025, NFTs aren't pictures of monkeys and useless pieces of art. NFTs represent real world assets. And so as we grow the eVault and we grow our partnerships with the different jewelry companies and mining companies kind of together, it allows us to track and trace and also to verify on an individual level. So it is my opinion that in the future, there won't be receipts and there won't be, title companies, things like that. Everything will be done on chain. Everything's going to be done through an NFT. So in the beginning, an NFT might, for a piece of jewelry, might just look like a digital receipt, a digital ownership. But as we move forward and develop these NFTs, it can show that and verify that the mine is certified, that it came from a mine that was ethical mining certified. You can include things like warranty information, insurance information. And so basically that NFT is going to be your proof of ownership. So that if a piece of jewelry gets stolen and someone tries to go to a pawn shop and they don't have the digital version of the physical asset, they're not going to be able to transact that. So it adds a layer of safety. Also, big movements that we'll talk about here in just a couple minutes in our carbon credit projects, our Offset Your Mom, our offset, which is more of our B2B, and we'll talk a little bit about our partnership with Trifara, and then also the individual ability of people to offset their own carbon footprint and to be rewarded for it monthly. We'll talk about what we're doing with our bracelet program, where that's really the real impact comes from allowing you to be rewarded for sharing this program. Others who buy a bracelet by using a QR code on the bracelet can help to solve a lot of the problems, create economic opportunities for people who are right now being forced into the mining field because they can't, harvest their cocoa plantations because they've been torn down by illegal mining. We're also going to increase token utility. That's really the big one that I'm going to spend some time on today. And again, I'll be brief since I know we wasted 10 minutes of your time, so I apologize for that. But we'll talk about that. And just a couple little fun things, our updated website. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So again, I always start with this. This slide is very important to us. On the left-hand side is Element United. That's me. That's everybody in the company. That's Element United, Paul and Ali and Amy and the developers and everybody that you guys know. The products that are produced are on the left side. That is us. We are Element United, the company. You, who are the blockchain community, are the Element blockchain. You guys are running nodes. Your node network, the blockchain network supports the products that we build, and you are rewarded for that by running your nodes. And this goes back to that incentive structure. Same way that people mined for Bitcoin, you guys, by taking certain actions on our proof of action network, are rewarded for those actions by a daily distribution of ELMT. And so from a compliance standpoint, I rarely talk about the token because I want to make sure that everybody's clear that, number one, Element United doesn't make earnings claims, and we don't want you relying on our efforts to make that token go up. Now, we'll talk a little bit about that because I know that's important to a lot of you who have the token. They want to know, well, then how does a token go up? What is this, right? And so we'll address all that as well. But we are doing our thing by creating products and creating token utility. You are doing your thing by running the blockchain, taking certain actions and being rewarded for it with that token. And the big question everybody says is, well, what do I do with the token? What do I do with it now that I have it? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, first things first, we're going to overhaul this website, the elementunited.com website. It needs an overhaul. So, we're working on that to make it a little bit more user friendly, but more importantly, to talk about what our priorities are. Everything, at least the beginning of our web, I just took a screenshot when you go to elementunited.com. Buy node, make the world a better place. We're trying to move away from, hey, the node into the products and to the problems that we're trying to solve. And so it'll have a better look and feel of what really our priorities are. Our priorities are the products because these products help solve these problems. And there is interaction between these products and the tokens. And we'll talk about that in just a second as well. So we're going to give this a nice overhaul. Paul is going to be a busy guy. He's going to be working on this website and overhauling it to the best of his abilities. We'd love some feedback from you guys too. Maybe on some of these calls we'll kind of show you some of the screenshots of what we're working on, and you can boo Paul or you can high five Paul because he's going to be doing a lot of work on this. But we've got some really cool ideas for it that just basically helps represent who we are in a more clear manner, because our website is good. If you scroll through it, you'll get all the information that you need, but it needs to be a little bit more appealing as we begin to reach out to more people who are going to be involved in the products. When they go to elementunited.com, it doesn't want to be like in your face buy a node, right? We want them, the customer, people who maybe don't own a node or don't own Element tokens at all. They just want to see what Element United does. It needs to appeal to a much broader audience. And that's really one of our themes for 2025 is to take Element to the world. You guys, our node community, our token, the token community, you guys have been, with us. Some of you guys have owned nodes for 2-3 years now, but we need to make Element a worldwide company, a household name, if you will, and to let people who maybe don't own nodes really start interacting with Element. And because a lot of the products that we sell have to be transacted in the Element token. So when they come to our website, there has to be a certain look and feel, and we're going to be changing that. And it just kind of goes with our ethos, with who we think we are as a company and what we're trying to accomplish in 2025. Because guys, this is our year. It is time to have our coming out party. 2025 is the year where the world hears about Element and the good we're doing and the things that can be done with the token and the things that can be done with our products. So one of the big things that we talked about is carbon credits, and our partnership with Trifara is going to be a big revenue generator for the company. And basically, this is the creation of verified, certified carbon credits that we will sell to other companies that need to buy carbon credits. They'll be tokenized on the Element blockchain, and they will only be transacted in the Element token. So as we're making these big partnerships with mines, one of the things that we do with these mines is to create with some mines that qualify, the ability to produce carbon credits, whether that's through different methodologies, whether it's using biochar to rehabilitate mines and create the carbon credits, or whether it's the vegetation on the mines. There's a few different ways. Most of it's way over my head, so I won't even attempt to talk about it. But we can use these mining partnerships, which we're already doing, to create carbon credits that can then be sold on the blockchain to big companies that need to buy carbon credits. And so that, with this partnership that we have with Trifara, is going to be a central focus of what we're doing this year, because it's a very big revenue generator, and then obviously because buying carbon credits allows us to have a safer, greener world. And so the tokenization of carbon credits is key because it makes these carbon credits more transactable, more verified, safer, for all the reasons that the blockchain can help. So we're going to have a big focus on carbon credits. But of course, we also have the carbon credits on an individual level, where you as individuals can now offset your own carbon footprint. And so you'll get fractionalized carbon credits every single month that will then be retired. And then you receive element as a reward. And you can do that for like $20 a month. But it's just us being good stewards of the earth and doing our part to reduce our own carbon footprints. And then there's some other things we're working on that we'll talk about in later calls, like the future, near future development of an app that allows you to track certain actions that you take to get rewarded for things that you do to reduce your carbon footprint. And so just be an interactive app that you can track every day on your phone. You take certain actions, you get rewarded for taking those actions. And that allows all of us to be in a better position, to be able to be more accountable for what our carbon footprint is, but just as importantly for some people, to get rewarded for maybe doing things that you're already doing. Next is the eVault. eVault, we're going to expand. I mentioned the two things that we're doing with the eVault is the ability to track from the mind all the way to the finger, and then also to interact directly with individuals on an NFT level so that they can buy jewelry and take existing jewelry that they already have and turn that into an NFT. Both big revenue generators as well. So when we talk about we're bringing on 500 mining partners, the ethical mining certification is where that starts. Our goal is to bring on 500 mines who are in phase 1 of the ethical mining certification, which phase 1 is a pledge. They are pledging to do certain things, to not do certain things. And that pledge allows us to then expand the ethical mining certification with these mines into more meaningful, impactful, verifiable, trackable actions that they can take to increase their level of certification. But in the beginning, you got to make it palatable. It has to be digestible for these mining companies. They operate on pretty thin margins, and they don't want someone coming in and making their job harder. And so the first step is a pledge, and they make that pledge. And then when we recertify them a year from now, there's a renewal fee. And so it's a pretty big revenue generator for us from a company standpoint, this ethical mining certification. But this is really where the impact happens. When we talk about child labor and environmental destruction and all the bad things that are happening in the mining world, this is what addresses that, the ethical mining certification. There's a precedent for this. This was done 20 years ago with blood diamonds, with a paper process called the Kimberley process, which basically, allegedly, according to the UN, has eliminated blood diamonds. Now, we know there's flaws in that because anytime it's a paper process, it can be cheated. So we are essentially doing the same thing, but not limiting it to diamonds and conflict. Now it can be anything that's mined for whatever reasons, environmental reasons, for child labor reasons, and you can do it on the blockchain, which makes it a lot more verifiable, a lot more honest, and it allows more people to participate. So this is really where the rubber hits the road for us from a let's solve problems bucket, right? Now, we are also, and this is where people who run nodes who happen to own a lot of ELMT, this is what they want to know. Scott, what do I do with these tokens? Okay. And every once in a while, I'll get a question from someone that says, what do I do with the token? It's got a very low value right now. There's not a lot of volume. And so what we are working on is increasing token utility. Now, you'll be very careful to note that when I talk about token utility, I'm not talking about here's what the token's going to be worth. I don't make any claims like that. There's never been a time where I've said that in any recording and anything we've ever done, because we try very, very diligently to be as compliant as we can. But what we do is we can make the utility of that token a lot more viable. For example, if you go to elmt.store right now, you can buy Element branded gold and silver coins using Element tokens. So you can go buy that right now. Okay. And so that's great. And we've had a lot of people. I told a story last week about how just a couple days before Christmas, someone here in Utah bought a bunch of tokens, a bunch of physical coins, gold and silver. And because I had them on my person in my safe, he came to my house and he's a buddy. And so he paid for it online, and instead of mailing it to him, I just gave him the gold and silver. Hopefully he made a video of that. He said he was going to make a video, kind of a cool, unboxing of it all. But anyway, since I delivered it to him, there was no unboxing, but hopefully he made a video of that anyway. But we have to get from, hey, note owners, let's buy gold and silver to the masses. Remember, 2025 is the year of the masses. We are taking this to the world. And so what we're doing is expanding the utility of the token. Not only can people come internally to elmt.store to buy gold and silver and gold backs. You see these gold backs here. These are actually gold that's infused in a paper form with a local company here that creates them. And so it's basically, it makes gold spendable. And there's already, hundreds or maybe even thousands of retailers that accept this as payment, accept these gold backs. But we need to take this to the masses. Now, one other big thing when we talk about token utility is carbon credits. I mentioned earlier that when we create these carbon credits and they're sold in the marketplace that we are building, we're building our own carbon credit marketplace. Those transactions happen in the native token, which is ELMT, which I think everybody on this call has quite a bit because most of you on this call run nodes and you've acquired the token. So here's where the token utility comes in. The more products that we have, the more likely people are to come to our store and use ELMT to purchase those products, okay? Carbon credits. Now the carbon credits, it's forced. They can't buy the carbon credits in any other way other than going into the market, buying the ELMT, and then coming into our store to buy the carbon credits into our marketplace, which is great. If I had a whole bunch of ELMT, I would want to know that there are buyers for that ELMT. Great. Who are the buyers for that ELMT? Well, first, it will be the people buying the carbon credits. When these projects are up and running, we anticipate, we just did our first one. Some of you guys are familiar with a sister company of ours called Grow. They just did $1 million carbon credit sale to Nestle. And so when we start getting into when Element, and it's, it'll grow over 2025, these big companies who are buying these carbon credits must go into the marketplace to buy ELMT to then go into the carbon credit store that we've built, our carbon credit marketplace, and buy. So hypothetically, if someone had a, $200,000 carbon credit purchase, they have to go buy $200,000 worth of ELMT out of the marketplace. Okay, and that's great. And that'll all transact with specific buyers in the carbon credit marketplace. Now, right now, gold and silver, it's mostly members of the community going in and buying gold from elmt.store. And it's mostly people buying gold backs off of our website. Actually, they're not even up on our website yet, so nobody's bought gold backs yet. However, 2025 is the year of the masses. So what are we going to do? We need to take, and maybe it's the next slide here. Okay, so we need to work with companies, and we've already identified many of them. We've already been talking to several of them to accept the ELMT token for their gold. Okay, so let's just call it, ABC Gold Co. You can see there, Paul made this awesome slide for me. So so let's just say ABC Gold Company agrees to accept the Element token as payment. Great. You as a buyer, so in that first little on the left of the slide, you go into the marketplace to buy ELMT. Okay. Now that you have that ELMT, the buyer then uses that ELMT to buy gold from ABC Gold, who accepts the ELMT. Then the buyer receives 5% of their purchase back in ELMT from Element United. So what did we just do here? We just made, using the Element token with our approved sellers, the cheapest way to buy gold out there. Now, when we take this to the masses and we start doing advertising, we engage our social media influencers and our KOLs and the plans that we have for marketing, we expect this to go nuts because the margins in gold are very, very small. When I would sell gold in Africa, they give you 2% under London spot price, okay? The end buyer does. And so they're operating on a 2% margin, okay? Imagine us giving a 5% discount back in Element. Now, hypothetically speaking, what if that Element token increased in price after you got your rebate? Now your discount potentially could be even bigger because the rebate you got is going to be, and so let's just say I went to buy $1,000 worth of ELMT. I go into the market, I buy it. I give that ELMT, $1,000 worth of ELMT to ABC Gold Co. They give me $1,000 worth of gold. And then I get my 5% back. What if the price of that went up? Well, great. Now my discount just increased from 5% to whatever the difference is in the price of the token from when I received it to what it ends up at. So that's how you get the masses. You have to do things to bring the masses in. We can't stay in this little, it's just node owners jumping in the elmt.store to buy. That's going to take us nowhere. Creating token utility by working with big companies all over the world who want to buy carbon credits, by expanding the ability to buy gold using ELMT to the world, allows us to get this token moving. Token utility is the name of the game. And so, and again, you've noticed I'm not telling you what that could do to the price of the token. I think, you can fill in the blanks for yourself of if a whole bunch of people are coming into a market to buy a certain token, what does that do to the price of the token? I don't know. I'll let you guys, do the speculate on that. But that's what we're working on, is making sure that we have in our store first products that people can buy, but then working outside of our store to allow this token to move. So token utility, carbon credits, and gold and silver. Those are the first two things that we hope can increase the token utility. And so now you guys ask yourself the question, what can I do with the token? Well, there'll be plenty of things in the elmt.store that you can do with the token. You can buy gold and silver or gold backs, and we'll have a whole bunch of other products that you can buy that you can exchange your tokens that you're earning from running a node for things in our ELMT store. Okay. So we're also going to be increasing this is a big one for us because, again, when we talk about impact, this bracelet program that we started, and many of you on this call have bought the bracelet. Some of you have received yours. Some of you are waiting for the batch from Ghana to arrive for your bracelet. But on the other side of that black offset bead is a QR code. You will be rewarded for sharing this program, for telling others about it. These are $50. We might increase the price a little bit. If one of the things that we've talked about on our call last week was, well, what if we increase the price of it to like $75 and we could pay like social media influencers to really push this product? The same amount of money would go to our causes, to the families who are constructing the bracelets and to the reclamation of these old dangerous gold mines. We could still put the same amount of money toward that, but you'd be able to pay influencers if they knew they were making like $25, or even if you guys wanted to do it and you wanted to make $25, that the same amount essentially would still go. And so we're thinking about doing that. If you guys have any comments or feedback on that, let us know. We'd love to hear your opinion on that. But we want 1,000 of these bracelets to go out this year. I think we can do 1,000 in a month if we had the right people involved. I think we could do 1,000 in a week if we can make this campaign go viral. And with the right people that we've been reaching out to, I think we can. You get a couple of people who have some sort of influence, and maybe if the incentive was right for them, they'd put this all over their social media, and hopefully their accounts would sell hundreds of these a week. That's ultimately the goal. And why? Because all the net proceeds go to these villages. And I cannot wait for the videos that Paul and I are going to make when we're in Ghana, meeting with the families, showing you the actual land that's going to be reclaimed, and then going back to those areas and showing you what your efforts in pushing this bracelet program was able to do for us. Again, because this is about impact. This is about what can we do. And I think as a community, if we all start with what is the impact that we can make to reduce what you're seeing here on this screen, it's going to be better for all of us. Start with that, right? Buy gold from ethically certified mines. That affects the EMC. Do the NFTs for the eVault that show the provenance of where that jewelry came from, the diamonds or the gold in that jewelry. Offset your own carbon footprint. All the things that we do have an effect on what you're seeing here. Now, this is specifically a cobalt mine in the Congo, but the exact same thing is happening all over the world in gold mines, silver, you name it. There's a big percentage of everything that's mined in the world is done so at the expense of the environment and families and health and children. And so that's what we're working on. And again, we're always, there are always people working on to expand the availability of the token and all those kinds of things. Now, one other thing too, there are members of the community. So the company itself doesn't market make. Members of the community do. And I know know that there are multiple members of the community who are working on doing that, on market making. But the reason my thing with people that go out there and do market making, I would prefer that the token price, if it were to go up, that it did so naturally. What I mean by naturally is people coming into the market to buy the token so they can buy gold and silver and they can buy carbon credits. If you just go out there and someone manipulates the token, that's cool. It's going to go up. Maybe, it goes up to 50 cents, which I think everybody would be pretty happy about. But then what happens? Everybody dumps. And those people who bought it at 50 cents, odds are it's going to go down when more people keep dumping it, and they're going to get burned. They're going to feel like, they got rug pulled, or they got, listen, what happens with the token is out of my jurisdiction. It's out of my reach. I would not want, yes, while if the token were to spike and all of you guys sold tokens and 100x to your, whatever, I'd be happy for you. But just remember that if it's an artificial spike, it's going to come down, and everybody who buys at the high is going to get hurt. Now again, but there are people out there who can market make tomorrow and make it spike. That's out of my control, and if that happens, then it happens. I hope it grows naturally from the products that we build, from people needing to come in. I think that's the more ethical thing to do. But I get it. I know that people are anxious. People are like, hey, let's not miss this big crypto wave and all the spikes and blah, blah, blah. I get calls, texts, and emails like that weekly. And they say, I don't want to miss it. Da, da, da. And I'm like, hey, listen, if members of the community go out and market make, no problem. They go out and do whatever they want to do. And if it goes up, fantastic. However, I think a natural growth so that we're sustainable. I hope Element's around for the next 30 years. I hope I am a very old man when I step away from Element with a lot of gray hairs, and I just turned 50. If I can walk away from this thing at 80 years old, having solved a lot of problems and changed the mining world and helped billions of people in the world, or millions of people in the world, and hey, and if as a very, very large token owner myself, if it went up, great, that would be fantastic as well. But I wouldn't want that to come at the expense of anybody else, if you know what I mean. But if the token were to go up and stay up, and there's just consistent volume, people can get in and out, that's fantastic. But again, Element United doesn't have anything to do with that. But it is going to be a fantastic 2025. We got a lot of amazing things. The intent of today was just kind of a teaser to let you know that we have a lot of very exciting things we're going to be working on. And the intent of the bi-weekly is to update you on where we're at, where we're going, and what's happening, so that you guys as a community can just stay in touch with what's happening with us as a company. So I appreciate you guys. We will, hold on, let's see. We will see you in, I guess, 2 weeks. So the first, it might be even a little bit longer than that. If we get in a position where the first and third kind of there's too big of a gap, maybe we'll throw in an extra meeting every once in a while just to stay in contact with you guys. We'll try to be a lot more communicative with you through Discord and just through sending out emails. Send in any questions, concerns you guys might have. We're happy to stay in contact with you guys as well. And we're happy to see what you guys do on the blockchain side, because you guys, like I always say, you have voting rights. You have the ability to do certain things, to make certain suggestions, and really the blockchain is run by you. I don't own the blockchain at all. I have nothing to do with the blockchain. It's a community led, driven. You've got your own governing body. It's really very exciting. So be proactive and stay in contact with us. And so that's all. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I went over a little bit longer than I should have. Thanks for being patient. And for those of you who jumped off, who may be watching this on a video recording, I apologize. But this recording will make sure we get out to the masses so that they can all see it. We're in 44 different countries right now, so a lot of people are sleeping through this, which they should be. But appreciate you guys. Happy to be at the helm of Element United and love this project with all of my heart. And I can't wait to see the amazing things that are done both on the company side and on the blockchain side in 2025. So thank you guys. We'll go ahead and end it here.